Welcome to Break Time channel. With 195 countries in the world, it's hard to imagine that many didn't exist once upon a time. As explorers discovered new land, more countries were established, leading to the nearly 200 we have today. Some of the world's nations have stood the test of time, though factors such as boundaries, political structures, and capital cities have changed. These nations have survived throughout the years, making them the world's oldest countries. Without talking too much, let's explore the list of the oldest countries in the world. Greece, as we know, it hasn't been around for that long in the grand scheme of things, but Greek civilization basically taught the world the meaning of the word ancient. Europe's first advanced civilization sprouted up in Greece around 3200 BCE, and Athens would introduce the world's first democratic system in 508 BCE. Ancient Greek still remains more comprehensible to modern Greek speakers than Old English does to English speakers, and numerous moments in Greek history have made their way into general Western knowledge in life. Take the ancient Olympics, for example, or the battle at Marathon, which inspired the mileage of the modern-day long-distance race. Next is Egypt. Although ancient Egypt as a culture has very few similarities with the Egypt of today, the first cultures that resembled the early Egyptian dynasties began to form as far back as the 6th millennium BC. Egyptian hieroglyphs, the world's second oldest writing system after cuneiform, appeared around 3200 BC, and King Menes formed the first unified kingdom around 3150 BC. 30 dynasties later, Egypt came under first Persian and then Greek rule. It came under the rule of the Islamic Caliphate soon after, and it has remained a majority Muslim nation ever since. The modern state of Egypt did not appear until the 20th century, when the Egyptians finally threw off British rule in 1952. Next is Iraq, or what was previously known as Mesopotamia, is one of the sites that witnessed the developments of the Neolithic Revolution from about 10,000 BC. The region has been identified as containing, or inspired by, some of the most important developments in human history, including the invention of the wheel, the cultivation of the first grain crops, and the development of biblical text, mathematics, astronomy, and agriculture. Pictorial writing was invented in Mesopotamia before the year 3000 BC, where it was written by inscription on clay tablets, metals, wax, and other materials, and writing developed from the use of images to the use of patterns carved with nails, known as cuneiform writing. Next is China. One of the great cradles of civilization has always been united. The earliest dynasty, the Shang, which ruled from the 17th to the 11th centuries BCE and was once thought to be completely mythical, was more recently bolstered by excavations that found the remains of Bronze Age settlements. It was the first dynasty to boast a writing system, which is a direct ancestor of the modern-day Chinese script. The Han Dynasty, which lasted from 206 BCE to 220 CE, strengthened China's union and laid the foundation for cultural elements, such as Confucianism, which are still important in China today. Next is Ethiopia. Going further back than nations and countries, some of the oldest hominid fossils have been found in Ethiopia. The country has had various monarchies since the 2nd millennium BCE. Importantly, Ethiopia was the only African country that was never colonized by a European country, as they were able to defeat all invading forces. When the League of Nations, the interwar predecessor to the United Nations, was formed after World War I, Ethiopia was the only independent African member. Ethiopia has always been a highly diverse, multi-ethnic state, and this also extends to its religion. The Kingdom of Aksum was one of the first countries after Armenia to accept Christianity, but Islam and Judaism have also had ties there for many centuries. Next is Iran. Even though Iran was reunified at the start of the 16th century, the country has a longer history of civilization than almost anywhere in the world. The Bronze Age Elamites were among the first to develop cuneiform writing in the 3rd millennium BCE, and Proto-Iranian groups were already in the area by the 2nd millennium BCE. The Achaemenid Empire, which dated from 550 to 330 BCE, was the biggest empire in the world. Next country is Japan. It is also a contender as one of the oldest countries in the world. The first Japanese emperor, who is said to be the descendant of the sun goddess Amaterasu, ascended the throne in 660 BCE, according to Japanese legend. While legend doesn't give way to fact, the country of Japan started appearing in Chinese literature in 300 CE. So whether you believe legend or not, Japan has certainly been around for quite some time. The country has passed through the hands of several dynasties and emperors, and it is still under the rule of Emperor Akihito, who is said to abdicate in April 2019. Next is India. The Indian subcontinent has been populated for around 5,000 to 6,000 years, and its peoples joined together to form a civilization in roughly 1500 BCE, when they created the Vedic civilization, which laid out the foundations of Hinduism. Over the following millennia, the country passed through different dynasties, with modern-day India being founded in 1947, once the country won its independence from the British Empire. Next on the list is San Marino. While many other countries have longer histories, San Marino is often cited as the oldest city in the world, as the country has been an uninterrupted sovereign state since 301 CE. The country was officially founded on September 3, 301 CE, when Saint Marinus built a church on Monte Titano. This little church grew into the city of San Marino. The capital of the small country San Marino is one of the smallest countries in the world and is part of the Italian peninsula. The country is very prosperous and its economy mainly relies on finance, tourism, services, and industry. San Marino has one of Europe's lowest unemployment rates, no national debt, and a budget surplus. Next country is Portugal. While the founding date of 1139 doesn't exactly place Portugal among the ranks of ancient civilizations, it deserves a place on this list because of the stability of its borders. As the rest of Europe has shuffled through ever-changing borders with various monarchs, empires, republics and popular democracies, this hasn't been the case with Portugal. In case you need more convincing, the country was also at the forefront of the Age of Discovery. Though that time was imperialist and detrimental to Aboriginal societies, it contributed substantially to creating the world we know today. I hope you had a good time watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.